ओम। ईश्वर अंश, जीव अविनाशी, चेतन अमल, सहज सुख राशि। तुलसीदास जी is reminding us of our true nature. Ishwaransh, an inseparable part of the universal consciousness that is omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, सर्वत्र, सर्वज्ञ, सर्वेश्वर, सर्व also, all that is manifested is that, is the self only. Ishwar Ansh. In the same way as a drop is inseparable from water, as wind is inseparable from sky, as heat is inseparable from fire, in the same way, all of us are one with the self, our source. Jiva Avinashi, indestructible. Because it is not an effect of a cause. Whatever is an effect is always limited by time and space. Whatever is limited by causation must be limited by time and space. जो भी एक कार्य है किसी कारण का, एक गमला है उसका कारण मिट्टी है, एक हार है उसका कारण सोना है। जो भी कार्य है, जो भी व्यक्त हुआ, नाम रूप गुण जिस पे लग गए, ये हमेशा समय से बद्ध रहेगा, देश से भी बद्ध रहेगा। Wherever name and form and qualities manifest, that particular thing has always a cause, and it is limited by time in the sense it will get destroyed, but the self, the source is avinashi, indestructible, and that is me, and that is you too. We are one. हम एक हैं, हमारा स्रोत एक है, हमारा सत्य एक है। चेतन, awareness itself it is. Awareness causeless, that is never born, that never dies. I am that. The flickers of the mind, including the ego, the I thought, are all transient. मन से कुछ भी उठे, यहां तक कि अहम का विचार भी, वो अनित्य है, पर उसका स्रोत नित्य है। वो मैं हूं, वो हम सब हैं। अमल, it is purest, pure. There is no taint of ego. There is no taint of desires. There is no taint of I and mine. There is no taint of Maya. अहम का, ममत्व का, मैं मेरे का और इच्छाओं और द्वेषों का, अपेक्षाओं का यहां कोई स्थान नहीं है, कोई धब्बा नहीं है इसमें। ये पवित्रतम है। मैं पवित्रतम हूं, हम सब पवित्रतम हैं। सहज सुख राशि, it is blissful, it is bliss itself. ये आनंद स्वरूप है, calm and blissful, शांत आनंद स्वरूप। In the 12th question of who am I, the question is, are there no other means for making the mind quiet besides who am I? Are there no other means? Ramana is saying there are no other adequate means. You contemplate on what Ramana says on your own first. What does he mean? क्या कह रहे हैं रमना? इसके अलावा कोई और एडिक्वेट रास्ता नहीं है, सहज रास्ता नहीं, पूरा रास्ता नहीं। Try to understand the true import. What he is saying is that directly contemplate and experience the self. Don't use any roundabout ways like breath control, like repetition of a mantra mechanically. He does say in this answer that breath control can be useful in calming the mind, but it is not helpful for the destruction of the mind. Repetition of a mantra mechanically will be useful, can be useful for attaining temporary quietness. But temporary quietness is not the goal. Merging in the self, for which mano nash is required, not just mano laya. Destruction of the mind is required, not just temporary quietening. So for that, who am I? Which takes you directly to the source. मैं कौन हूं? मैं कौन हूं पूछते ही अपना स्वरूप याद भी आ जाता है और अनुभव में भी आ जाता है. द मोमेंट यू आस्क हु एम आई, you not only remember your true self, you also come to experience it directly. And along with that, because the mind has a strong momentum, we have understood earlier that the three qualities that lead to your habit patterns, they don't go away so easily. So making the mind pure through right contemplation, in order that you can effectively employ the who am I inquiry. मन को राग द्वेष इच्छा अपेक्षा आदि से हटाकर पवित्र बनाकर तब जब ये इंक्वायरी करोगे मैं कौन हूं, तो रिजल्ट्स एक अलग ही लेवल के होंगे. That is why combining the purity inquiry along with the who am I inquiry, I have seen, is very, very effective. There's a couplet in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Let me read it out to you. श्रेयो हि ज्ञानम अभ्यासात् ज्ञानात् ध्यानम विशिष्यते ध्यानात् कर्म फल त्यागः त्यागात् शांतिर अनंतरम. Better than mechanically repeating certain words without understanding their meaning, their consequences, their import, their effect upon one's life. Better than that is the knowledge of the self, which will bring about big changes in your thinking, in your life. केवल बिना समझे कुछ अभ्यास करने से बेहतर है ज्ञान, आत्मज्ञान. जो आपके पूरे पर्सपेक्टिव को, नजरिए को बदल देगा जिंदगी जीने की. बट बेटर देन ज्ञान, बेटर देन सेल्फ नॉलेज इज ध्यान. Meditating on that knowledge in order to integrate it, assimilate it fully. Meaning, just getting the knowledge is not sufficient. ज्ञान ले लिया पर उस पर अमल नहीं किया, उस पर चले नहीं तो बात नहीं बनेगी. उससे बेहतर है उस पर अच्छी तरह मनन ध्यान करके अपने पूरे अस्तित्व में उसका आत्मसात कर लेना. मेकिंग इट वन विद योर एंटायर बीइंग, द सेल्फ नॉलेज, टू श्रवण मनन निधिध्यासन, contemplation, deep contemplation upon that knowledge. ध्यानात् कर्म फल त्याग. Better than dhyan, meditation is letting go. Krishna is saying, letting go of the fruits of your actions. But this is a way of saying letting go of all attachments with things, with people, with situations that are transient. Letting go of all expectations, letting go of all desires and aversions. Once you assimilate the knowledge, this will happen. Letting go, detachment will happen, अनासक्ति आएगी. अनासक्ति में स्थिति आएगी. And in this end he says, Tyagat Shantir Anantaram. You will get infinite peace when you are detached from all your mental formations. अपने मन के सारे विचारों, भावनाओं, मैं मेरा से जब आप अनासक्त होंगे तो अथाह शांति, अनंतरम, अनंत शांति की प्राप्ति होगी. Coming back to Ramana, apply this on what Ramana is saying. Anything done mechanically without understanding will not have lasting effect. It will not be able to bring about lasting changes in you. There are traps of Maya even in who am I? Who am I work. When your mind is not ripe enough, you tend to just repeat who am I, who am I, who am I, and you think that that is the practice. No. Who am I is the deepest possible question that one can ask oneself. Who am I के अंदर भी ये वाली इंक्वायरी भी करते हो तो इसमें माया पकड़ लेती है फिर से. मैंने कितने लोगों को देखा है जो बस वो हु एम आई रिपीट करने को ही प्रैक्टिस समझते हैं. जैसे कोई भी मंत्र रिपीट कर रहे हो, ओम मणि पद में हूं, ओम मणि पद में हूं, ओम मणि पद में, उसी तरह हु एम आई, हु एम आई, हु एम आई, हु एम आई. नाउ दिस इज नॉट द वे इट ऑट टू बी डन. ये बहुत गहरा प्रश्न है जो जैसे ही आप पूछोगे, this ought to stun your mind. This ought to stop you in your tracks. Stop. Pause. रुक जाओ. ये जो विचार आया मेरे मन में, ये किसको आया? To whom the thought that came to my mind? To me. Who am I? And immediately you come to remember, oh, the thought came because of my attachment with the body mind complex, ego. Now, that ego is a non existent imagination, non existent entity, rather. It's just a thought. When I let go of the ego, then who am I? जब मैं अहम को छोड़ता हूं, तब क्या अनुभव है? तब क्या अनुभव है? ईश्वरांश, जीव अविनाशी, चेतन, अमल, सहज सुख राशि. I'm one with the universal consciousness, with the source, with the self, with Paramatma, Param Atma. I am unborn. Coming into being and ceasing to be does not happen to me. Of course, it can happen to the body, but never to me. I am immutable. मेरे में कोई भी बदलाव नहीं आता है. अचल, ever the same, unmoving. So this question was about letting go of things, of practices that we do mechanically. It ought to be internalized. There are two ways of reaching the source. One is, of course, who am I inquiry, and the other is straight away you are saying and contemplating on the Mahavakyas. Tattvamasi, I am that. Sarvam hetad Brahma, I am Atma Brahma. All that is the self. Even this individual self is the universal self. You say the mantra and attain unity with the meaning of the mantra. With the essence of the mantra. तत्व से जानना है. जब मंत्र बोल रहे हैं उसी समय अपने अस्तित्व खत्म हो जाए, ऐसे बोलना है. When you are saying the mantra, in that moment itself, your identity ought to dissolve completely. That is how it has to be practiced. Shiddat se, junoon se, with passion, with all your heart and soul put into it. Let us practice the mantra, I am blissful eternal awareness. मैं चिन्मय, नित्य, आनंद स्वरूप, प्रकाश. I am blissful eternal awareness. मैं नित्य, चिन्मय, आनंद स्वरूप प्रकाश। I am blissful eternal awareness। मैं नित्य चिन्मय आनंद स्वरूप प्रकाश। Any thought arising in the mind, something happened during the day, and that thought arises simultaneously when you do the mantra, practice the mantra. Immediately stop there and ask, to whom the thought? Who am I? The thought is coming to the egoic self, to the ego, to Ajay. But am I really Ajay? Then I ask myself, who am I? Oh, me. I am blissful, eternal awareness. I am blissful, eternal awareness. The person about whom the thought is arising, you realize that he or she is also the same. The self, one self everywhere. Blissful, eternal awareness. All projections, all manifestations are like wind from the sky or the sound coming from the sky. The waves in the ocean, one ocean, several waves. They are all one with the ocean. They might be thinking that they have a separate identity. Not true. हर लहर समझती है कि मेरा अलग अस्तित्व है। क्या है? The sun, the moon, the planets, all Narayana, all Vasudeva. The earth, the water, fire, air, sky, all Vasudeva, the self. Things sentient, insentient, Jad, Chetan, Char, Achar, all Vasudeva. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Let us surrender our ego completely in this moment. Let go of ego and all the ramifications, branches that are emerging from the ego. अहम से जो जो भी शाखाएं निकल रही हैं, सबको छोड़ते हैं। mindness, future, past, various resolves, various desires, the sense of doership, the sense of enjoyership, kartapan, bhoktapan, इच्छा द्वेष अपेक्षा तृष्णा स्पृहा तीन गुण स्वभाव one's habit patterns. In this moment, let all go. I am the purest. मैं पवित्रतम प्रकाश. Bhagwan is saying, this is one couplet in the 9th chapter, यथाकाश स्थितो नित्यम वायु सर्वत्र गो महान तथा सर्वाणि भूतानि मत्स्थानि इत्युपधारय. As sky is the source of the wind, in the same way I am the source of all beings. जैसे हवा आकाश से आती है, आकाश ही स्रोत है, उसी तरह प्रभु सबके स्रोत है. नारायण नारायण एवरीवेयर, वासुदेव एवरीवेयर. ओम श्री कृष्णार्पणमस्तु. श्री राम कृष्णार्पणमस्तु. हरि ओम तत्सत. ओम सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःख भाग् भवेत्. ओम शांति शांति शांति. हरि ओम तत्सत. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bless you all.